Hello, everybody. Welcome to another session. We're super stoked to meet again. We find ourselves thinking about you guys all the time and getting excited for these meetings. And it's late in the evening here for us in Europe. And we're tired. Like Rachel and I, we get up early, we do all our stuff, and by the end of the evenings, we're like, we're ready to crawl into bed. But we get so stoked for these meetings because we love you guys so much, seriously. And what you're doing, the fact that you're here, that you care about your families, you want to
Mm-hmm.
show up and you want to create an extraordinary family life, and you want to lead your kids and be the best version of yourself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
can't honor that enough.
It's
And
very awesome.
and I know you don't need these reminders, but
Or maybe you
man,
do.
maybe you do, but I think you guys are all over it just because of the wonderful, wonderful work that Rachel and I get to do working with families every day. We get to hear like all the great like triumphs, but we also get to hear the tragedies and the super, super sad, sad stories when kiddos make terrible, terrible decisions. And then in tremendous remorse, the parents are sending us messages or in our coaching sessions saying, I wish I would have done that last year or sooner. In fact, I got one of those messages today, just in agony, saying, I wish we would have stopped that just a couple of years ago. And so I share that today as just a reminder, like being here and implementing this stuff matters so much. So much. And a lot of the things that we see in teens and young adults, I'll let you guess when they started. Guess when the problem started. Any guesses?
As children, like 9.
Yep, little. When they are little fellers, even younger than that sometimes, they start picking up these little attitudes or habits or mindsets. And parents, you're like, oh, they're little, they'll just grow out of it. And you realize, no, they won't. No, they won't. It's either you deliberately help them grow out of it or they keep it. They'll hold on to it. Who here has seen that in one of your children? They grab something when they're little and they hold on to that thing like crocodiles on a chicken in Costa Rica. there's this
Freedom.
there's this bridge in Costa Rica where you go over there, they let you feed chickens to the crocodiles. It's pretty wild. And you're like, this is crazy.
Well, but as you're talking about this, it just reminds me of one of the most important mindset shifts we had, and one of the things that I wish I could just yell from the rooftops to every parent, because I know for me and for so many parents, we think of parenting as something we do kind of in reaction to the things our kids do. They misbehave and we discipline them. Something happens and we punish them. Like it's like this constant reaction mode where really the best parenting is proactive. And that's why we're praising you for being here, because you are being proactive. Being here is proactive parenting, and that's the most powerful form of parenting there is, because if we only live in reactive mode, then yeah, we end up just responding to the things that happen in our children's lives, to their misbehaviors, to their problems, and we're trying to fix them rather than preventing them from happening in the first place, which is the more powerful approach. It's the easier approach. Not that it's easier necessarily, but it's, in my mind, the better approach, because we can help prevent those problems rather than just trying to fix them. So kudos to you for being here. Good job, because this is where it starts, by learning the tools, the strategies, the techniques to be more proactive. So with that in mind, let's dive in.
When I first thought this and wrote it down and thought about it, I'm like, really, is that it? But the more and more I've lived, I believe it was probably 15 or 20 years ago, I realized the best thing that we can do for others and for God is to make the most of ourselves. So the best thing we can do for our children, the best thing we can do for our families is make the most of ourselves. Make sure we are taking care of ourselves, that we're whole and happy and healthy, and that we're thriving, because then we have so much more to give and offer. It's so powerful.
Yeah. Let's dive in then. I'm going to quickly review the habits of a successful life pyramid, so that we can reorient ourselves to where we're at. And today we're going to be going over level 1. So last week, if you did miss it, we just did a quick overview of this whole pyramid, and we talked about building habits and how important it is to align it with these needs. And I kind of took the original idea from Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and he was a famous psychologist, and he talked about humans just all have these basic needs. So as we go through this, we're going to be talking about each of these levels and very specific habits that we can set up in our families to help us have more peace, have more love, have more communication, have more connection, essentially create the family culture and atmosphere that we want, but through building habits that fulfill the needs of individual members. So our own needs, but also the needs of our children, the needs of our spouse. When we feel filled, we have more to give. Like Greg loves to say all the time, you cannot draw from an empty well. We have to be filled in order to be able to give all of the things that are required for us to give as parents. So today, let's dive into this first layer, which has to do with physical habits and physiological routines. And we're gonna see how critically important these actually are. And I would say are probably one of the most often neglected. And so actually one of the major things Greg does in his coaching is talking about these first level needs, because so many people, I think it's just human nature, we discount the importance of having this foundation in place. And in fact, we have a tendency as society in general to sacrifice these things in order to accomplish the things or to do the things that we feel are more important. But so many times, so often, families are out of whack. We're out of whack. We feel depressed. We feel anxious. We feel stressed. We feel overwhelmed. We feel burnt out simply because we're neglecting this foundational level. And that's also true for our children, because as we're going to learn, if our children are not having these physical needs met, their behavior is going to be worse just because their nervous system is not regulated. And so that is often a major contributing factor to bad behavior. It's just simply the fact that they're overwhelmed, they're stressed, they're tired, they're hungry, they're whatever. And so that's why they're acting out. And so too often, we've always talked about, we feel there's a lot of these parenting approaches where people are trying to straighten. Greg always calls it straightening deck chairs on the Titanic. So the Titanic is going down, it's sinking, and people are trying to straighten the chairs. That's what a lot of parenting techniques are, because they're trying to manage and control behavior rather than looking at the underlying cause. The problem is the ship is sinking, right? You got to take a different approach here. And so if we look at the underlying cause of what's happening and we address that, then the other problems actually take care of themselves. Some of the things we're going to talk about when we're discussing physiological and physical needs. We all know intuitively that going outside is going to make us feel better. Spending time in nature is going to make us feel better. Getting enough sleep is going to make us feel better. Those are the things that change our physiology. They change our biochemistry. They change the way we feel. And yet we all think, well, I'm too busy. I don't have enough time. I've got too much to do. And so we are literally sabotaging ourselves from feeling better and by default being able to do the work we need to do in a better mood by skipping those things instead of prioritizing them. And as we talk about this today, as we talk about the importance of level 1, we have to, and I'm saying this from experience because we all get guilty of falling into this. I just think it's a human thing that we do. We get guilty of falling into this trap of thinking, I just don't have time. But if we learn to prioritize it, it starts to shift everything so that we actually live and operate in a better mood more of the time, because we are prioritizing the things that put us in a better mood, right? I mean, it's kind of like this catch-22 that can go either way. One way is we never prioritize it and we operate in a bad mood. The other thing is we prioritize it and we begin to operate in a better mood more of the time. It's easy to do, it's easy not to do.